Greetings, fellow humans. Matt Mark here with another transmission from Metre Keyboards. And today, we're taking a look at a new keyboard from Sikakeyb. Now, Sikakeyb has been around for a little while. I've actually reviewed a couple of their past keyboards. Interesting designs. They have either always been or were just recently acquired by Gateron. I'm not necessarily sure, but this is a HE or Hall Effect magnetic keyboard that is also sold on Sikakeyb's website, but as well as Gateron's website. So Gateron is, in my opinion, a reliable maker of keyboard switches, and I'm quite fond of several of them. The Milky Yellow Pro probably being one of my favorite linears, and I have a bit of a fondness for the Kangaroo, the baby Kangaroo. But there aren't many Gateron switches I can say that I don't really like. I mean, I can even use a Gateron Brown without any problems, though I prefer something with a little bit more tactility. But today we're taking a look at the HM80, which is a HE keyboard, 80 being an 80%, but I think it has a different layout than a TKL. And I'm pretty sure it is preloaded with Gateron magnetic switches. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump in and see what the Sikakeyb HM80 HE has to offer. So as always, before taking a look at the keyboard, I like to see what's included in the box first so we know what we're getting. We do have looks like a user card. It appears to be Chinese on one side and English on the other. Tells us how to switch layers, what the combinations are for. And this is a wired version. I'm unsure if there is a wireless version. It does appear to have a screen, and it does appear to have the ability to do split or 3 space bars, which is quite interesting, I gotta say. So, also included, we have it's a nylon braided USB-A to USB-C cable. It's one of the nicer ones. We have what appear to be a couple of extra keys. Very nice. Always appreciative of that. We have a switch and keycap puller. Oh, and this is definitely the Gateron one. It is a different design, but I have not in a handy place. I do have a couple of versions of this key switch puller. This is the keycap puller, and as you can see, it's made from soft plastic flap, so you're not gonna, well, they shouldn't scratch the keycaps, I should say. I won't say they won't, but allow you press the button and it actually opens it up to go over the keycap, and then you close it, just pull it out, and then for the switches you would push down, it would grab onto the switch and you would just pull it out and then press the button to eject it. So that is quite nice. I've never seen that nice of a keycap puller included in a keyboard, so that's pretty cool. And that should work for both magnetic as well as regular mechanical switches. And here are the switches. It looks like these are the Jade Pro, if I'm not mistaken. I will have to double check before when I do the specs to make sure. But this is a nice magnetic switch. Oh, it's actually one of the first ones I've seen that doesn't have the hole at the bottom for the magnet. But that's probably the best HE switch I've heard to date. Usually they're extremely tinny, plasticky, almost hollow sounding. This one actually sounds pretty nice. So it should give us a nice experience. We also have a couple of extra stabilizers included, and that's probably going to be for that split space bar that we can do. And here we are with the Sikakeyb HM80 HE keyboard. It is got a little metal badge right there. I was trying to see if it's actually removable. It does not appear to be. I don't want to scratch anything up, but sometimes they're magnetic, but this one appears to be attached. We do have a nice little light bar. We have a screen. We have a key there. It's a print screen. I would personally made that delete, but that's neither here nor there. So we have a very nice looking layout. This 80% layout has become quite popular as of late. We do actually have an on and off switch, I guess, which is odd because this is a magnetic keyboard. I'm also seeing here that the port is not lined up, so it appears that, yeah, well, that's unfortunate. It does not have a daughter board. It appears that the USB-C is connected to the PCB, which, I mean, and it's out of alignment. So we actually, I try to put it in, I mean, well, I guess it goes in, but as you can see, the port is not lined up. I mean, it is a little bit bigger than it should be, but that could cause issues with stress on the connector. That's not necessarily what I would consider a good design choice. We do have what feels like a nice aluminum weight at the bottom. We have 2 sets of fold-out feet. We have some nice rubber bumpers. And we have a really nice retro design. I do love this bezel put around the edge like that. And the layout works with the screen. It doesn't, at some keyboards, the screen kind of feels like an afterthought. And this one, I think the screen kind of fits with the design of the keyboard and how it goes. Now let's go ahead and plug it in and see what it looks like with the lights turned on. All right, so it looks like we have a few choices here. If I go to this one, oh, it's a game. No way. It's the this is the game on like the Google page if nothing's found, I think. So it actually includes a game on the OLED. That is game over. That is hilarious. Oh, and we have an actual meter of how hard we're hitting, where it's actuating at. Now that is one of the most useful things I have as of yet seen on a HE keyboard, that you actually have a screen that actually provides some important data. Shows you the caps lock, but it shows you what layer you're on too. But it also shows you the pressure and at what actuation point. That is really nice. I'm not sure what exactness means. We'll see if we can figure that out as we go along. I'm not seeing any RGB here. No, we do have RGB. So, kind of curious why it's not coming on. Let's check the manual. Yep, looks like we just had to turn the brightness on. I don't know what reaction means. We can do this to switch colors. So it has a nice number of effects already built into it. I don't see a backlight mode. You can lock windows. I don't see controls for this. Let me see. We have nice switches. Let's see what kind of plate we have here. Plate feels kind of metallic. Oh, it must be an aluminum plate. It does not feel. It could be FR4. It's hard to tell. I'll have to look that up in the specs. But let's check out these stabilizers. Oh, well, wow, they are very well attached. Wow. Ooh, almost didn't want to come out. And as we can see here, we actually have support for screw-in stabilizers. Yeah, if I had to guess, this plate's aluminum. That's definitely metal. So it's an aluminum plate. We already have a layer of what looks like just IXPE. There's no PET down there. But this is probably one of the first, maybe the second, HE keyboard that I've seen that actually has the ability to add screw-in stabilizers. But even though they still come with lubricated and very well attached plate mounted stabilizers. once these are locked into place, they literally have no wiggle. They're part of the plate almost. So those are some very nice, I'm going to assume, Gateron stabilizers. So we have some nice stabilizers. How about these keycaps? These are die sub keycaps, and they are, oh, yeah, there's my Gateron keycap port. It's the same thing. These keycaps come measuring in at, wow, 1.6 millimeters. So we have some decent switches, some decent keycaps, some decent stabilizers, a screen with some actual functionality, and so far, out of all the HE keyboards that I have reviewed, this one, in my opinion, I do have others to review, but in my opinion, this is the best sounding HE keyboard that I have reviewed to date. So that's a feat, because I have reviewed probably about a dozen HE keyboards, and don't get me wrong, I mean, I get, being able to set the actuation point is incredibly important for gamers. I code, so as long as it catches my actuation, then I'm all good. I would like to see tactile switches for HE, but I just don't think that's going to happen because of the way that HE works. But that's just me. I want to check out this split spacebar option here. So yeah, it looks like we have the ability to actually do 3 spacebars. Wow. I guess the middle one would not have a stabilizer because they have the 2 stabilizers there on the side. And wow, they actually have, oh, there is a spot for screw-in stabilizers there. And I'd assume there and there as well. Wow, I've got to say, I definitely am going to make the point to come back to this keyboard and see what other tricks it has and see what it looks like on the inside. Today, we're just going to stick to the regular review. I am curious, though, what... Oh. Okay. Well, it doesn't turn off the screen, but it turns off the lights. The switch is for the lights, but I guess that comes on. All right. I don't know. The lights came on even though it's on off. So I have no idea what this on and off switch for, unless it's just to turn it off and it'll come back on once you press it. It seems kind of, I don't know, it seems a little pointless to me. But what do I know? Just the specs. Today we are taking a look at the Sikakeyb Gateron HM80 HE, an ABS wired 80% Hall effect keyboard with a screen. It has a gasket mounted aluminum plate and a hot swap HE PCB with the capability for screw-in stabilizers and split spacebars. It comes preloaded with Gateron Magnetic Jade Pro switches and die sub PBT Cherry profile keycaps that come measuring in at 1.6 millimeters. This keyboard comes weighing in at 955 grams, and the chin of this keyboard sits at 21 millimeters above the typing surface, while the back sits at 27.5 millimeters, providing for a default typing angle of 5 degrees. Flipping out the first set of feet will raise the back up to 34 millimeters of height and take your angle of typing to 7 degrees. Flipping out the final set of feet will raise the back height to 39 millimeters and change your angle of typing to 11 degrees. The MSRP for this keyboard is $245, though it is currently on sale on Sikakeyb's website for $159. Links below. Okay, so I went to the Sikakeyb website and installed the software. First time I ran it, it kind of just flashed on, flashed off, flashed off again. I think it did an update, and then it opened up again. First off, the software was in Chinese. It wasn't very clear because I could hardly even see the icons at the top right-hand side because they're so faded out. The colors don't look right. I could not figure out where to change it into English until I clicked on the world. Okay, now it closed, opened back up again, and now I'm in there. So it appears that we have 5 layers, perhaps 6. 6 layers FN, so I'm not sure what that means. I see these numbers, 3.3. I'm guessing that that's the actuation rate. I see set image with the slider. I'm like, all right, let me look for an image. I start looking for GIFs, but it doesn't seem to find any because in the search box, it's only looking for JPEG, BMP, and PNG. And I'm like, oh, I guess we can't do animated. We can only do images, static images. Okay, so I find a static image and I upload it. I uploaded the static image and I'm still like, what's going on? Where is it? I was honestly confused, switched over to dark mode. I clicked back onto the image, hit the slider, and oh, set image for the background of the software. I don't know, maybe I'm just weird, but I've never had the urge to set a background image for my software, but that's neither here nor there. When I finally clicked on the screen, that's when it gave me the ability to choose from some pre-existing ones. I don't know if they're already on the keyboard or if they're in the software, or I could upload. So I went ahead and went to my trusty GIF folder that I have because I've reviewed a number of keyboards with screens on them, and I decided to select a GIF. The first one didn't work because it had too many frames, but then I was able to find one that I thought was simple, nice, and small, and shouldn't have too many frames. So I selected this Spectre 75, which is a 400, almost 500 kilobyte image. And I said, all right, download image, preparing to download. I started this at 7:20 p.m. It took a total of 11 minutes to upload a 443 kilobyte GIF animated image to the keyboard. Now, even USB 2.0 transfer speed is 400 megabits per second. Why it has taken so long is beyond me. I come back to, okay, we've got an HE keyboard, so let's go ahead and select our actuation. So this one actually has, we can do an individual selection, or we can select all. So I select all, and I adjust the actuation point to different points. Now there is no save button, but regardless of what I do, it always shows 3.3 next to each switch. Now I'm not sure what the orange bar or the green bar underneath each key means. I'm guessing it's the actuation point and the reset point, but the number I would assume is the actual actuation distance point. But again, there is no save. There's nothing that clearly states how this is supposed to work. Every keyboard manufacturer that does HE is, because there's no standard, they're calling things differently, they're doing things differently. But no matter what I did, I was not able to, in any way that I could actually test, I was not able to change the actuation point. It is what it is, 3.3, and that's that. So it kinda, in my opinion, defeats the purpose of having an HE keyboard. Now for lighting, we do have the basic. We can go through the effects. The layout is a little bit odd. I don't know what the master switch means. I don't know why it has that switch on the back. It makes no sense to me. But you can do per key RGB or select your keys. I tried doing calibration and the software just closed. Now, one other thing that I have noticed with this keyboard is that a number of times I have plugged it in with the switch to the on position, and either it does not turn on or it turns on and there's no effect. Now, unfortunately, of course, it's working now. But there's the image that took 11 minutes to upload. The actuation points, like I said, they haven't changed from anything that I can see. The software for this seems completely half-baked. The color, I mean, I did not select per key RGB and set that key to blue, but it just stays blue no matter what, I guess. I have no idea what the reaction screen there means, but the software is half-baked. It really doesn't even seem to know what it's trying to do. As there are different implementations of HE software, because there's not yet one standard. I mean, there are switches that are actually different polarity. I mean, obviously, you know, a magnet has a positive and negative polarity. Well, some magnets are positive, some magnets are negative, and that obviously affects the Hall effect sensors on the PCB. But a lot of the manufacturers have kind of come around certain nomenclature that kind of stays the same, or at least similar enough to where they don't get in trouble for copying anything off of each other. But it makes sense. This software, honestly, and this is coming from someone who has developed software since the 90s. I could not make heads or tail out of this software when I haven't had any problem with the dozen or so previous HE keyboards that I have reviewed. Another thing that I have to say completely bothers me. Now, I am looking at the Gateron site. Now, they list $245 as the list price, but that it's currently a limited offer for 13 days of 35% off at $159. Now, I have reviewed the Wooting HE80. Unfortunately, that's one of the reviews that got lost when my hard drives died and my drive array. But that keyboard, I believe it's either $179 or $199. It's a little bit more than this one. It doesn't have a screen. It has keys up here. That is a very decent keyboard. The software makes sense. There's options for a zinc alloy case, a PCR case, and KBD Fans actually has an aluminum case specifically for the HM80 or the Wooting 80HE. That one makes a lot more sense, and I thought that one was highly overpriced, but comparing that one to this one, that one is a well-refined product. This one is unfinished. The software is unfinished. The hardware, I don't know if it's that we have a loose USB port here because of, I mean, as you can see, the port does not line up with the actual access to it. It actually sticks above. Now, the cable does go in, but that design, when you have a gasket and you have a USB cable, you're constantly going to be having this going on, because every time you press, you can see the cable move, right? Well, guess what? That's going to put strain on the USB-C connector. Now, it does have 4 nice posts that are used to hold it down besides the pins, but it is solder. Solder is to make a connection. It's not meant to be a structural backing. It's not welding. It's soldering. It's just really there to make connections. It's not there for support. So I'm just in the camp that this keyboard, while it sounds okay, it is not finished, and I don't think it's going to last long because of that. Plus, I don't think that a plastic HE keyboard should be considered. I'm trying to understand where Sikakeyb and Gateron thought that $245 was a good price point for this keyboard. Yes, it's on sale for $159, but what does this keyboard have that equates to a price where, I mean, there are other HE keyboards, but if you want to go into just a mechanical keyboard, there are some amazing mechanical keyboards you can get for the $250 range. I'm talking about, I mean, some really classy. I mean, there's obviously more expensive ones, but for $250 on the Mode Sonnet, I think it's like $279. But in that price range, you have a choice of some really exquisite aluminum keyboards that they come in a case, they come with extra parts, sometimes they come with extra plates, they come with multiple mounting styles. They come many times with QMK source and VIA, or at least VIA. With the HE ones, they come with finished software. So I find it very hard to justify the price of this keyboard. So I don't know, like I said, I have the impression that Gateron and Sikakeyb are either Gateron owns Sikakeyb, or Sikakeyb is a brand of Gateron. If I go to the Sikakeyb website, it shows a retail price of $179, but on sale for $159. That is in a better range if this was a finished keyboard, if the software was finished, if the design included a daughter board, and I mean, not a pointless switch. Apparently there's going to be a wireless version at some point. I have not seen any listings for it, but it does include a useless rubberized dongle that doesn't do anything but just sits in a pocket. And I've seen this case design. This case design honestly reminds me of a Red Dragon board, except that the port is on this side. But the bevels that it has, the way that the feet are laid out, it really reminds me of a Red Dragon board. And Red Dragon has several HE keyboards that are well below this price. I believe they have one 60%, but you could probably buy 3 of them than you could for one of these, and their software makes a lot more sense, in my opinion. So I was honestly, because I mean, now I did say, it's funny because I had to go and pull out the Wooting 80, as it's been a minute since I'd actually done the review. When I said that this one was one of the best sounding out of the box, I completely forgot how good the Wooting HE80 sounds. It is way better than this. Not that this sounds horrible. This definitely sounds better than the majority of HE keyboards, but sound is only one aspect, one of many aspects that one is looking for when looking to purchase a mechanical keyboard, especially an HE keyboard. I can't see any reason to recommend this, honestly. Not only is the price wrong, not only is the software unfinished and really just doesn't make sense or doesn't work. Either I didn't understand it and I'm a software developer, or I did understand it and what I did just didn't make a difference, didn't make a change. Uploading a GIF should not take 11 minutes for a half a megabyte file. And even if the software were to be fixed, it still has a major design flaw. A keyboard in 2025 that is gasket mounted should not have its USB port on the PCB. Plain and simple. If you're going to do that, then open up the entire window there. Make something that, I've seen other keyboards that actually do it, but they put a little piece of plastic so that no matter what, it's sliding, but the port at no point is receiving any stress. Whereas here, it definitely is receiving stress, and it's not even lined up with the actual port. Like, I have to press it hard for it to be lined up. But if I let go, it's halfway up almost. Well, 1/4 up. It is just, I don't know. I'm honestly disappointed because I know, like I said, I love Gateron switches. I've enjoyed the previous Sikakeyb keyboards that I've had. But I'm really at a loss. I gotta be honest, I'm really at a loss. I'm trying to figure out something positive to say, okay, it's a nice looking keyboard, but I can't recommend it. Not at the price that it's at, not at any price, honestly, because regardless, in time, that port is going to break, fray, or give problems. Like I said, I'm already experiencing problems. I tried different cables, tried different ports. There were times that I would plug it in and nothing would happen. There were times I would plug it in, the lights would come on, but no matter what I did, what I typed, nothing would happen. I'd have to unplug it, plug it back in. This was on, I tried this on my desktop, which is a self-built AMD Ryzen. Tried it on my Windows workstation, which is a Intel i7, 10th or 11th gen. I tried it on a couple of my ThinkPads. It did the same thing on all of them with the cable that was included, as well as with cables that I use. I primarily use the Akko and Monsky cables, which are extremely sturdy and have never given me any issues with any other keyboard. So it's not the cables, it's not the ports, it's not my computer, as I tried numerous different devices to make sure that, there wasn't anything going on with one of my USB ports. And all the ports are connected directly to the PC, not through a hub, because I know that can cause issues sometimes on how it reports itself to the PC or the host device. Anyway, I really, I don't know. I guess I kind of feel bad, but I gotta be honest. I have to be honest, and I hope that Sikakeyb and Gateron don't take it out on me, but I won't be surprised if they choose not to send me any more keyboards for review. This one was sent to me by them, and as I've always said, and I've always remained, I will be honest. If I find issues with something, if I think that something isn't worth the price, if I find something that, in my opinion, is a showstopper, I feel obligated to say it. Otherwise, I'm lying by omission. So I can't do that. I have to remain honest, and I'd rather be honest and have to spend money to buy the keyboard to review than lie and not be able to sleep at night. I know some people can lie without issue, and actually there's a lot of people out there making a living by lying and selling products and calling themselves content creators, but I'm not here to judge anybody else. All I can do is take care of my own actions, and I'm going to remain honest about keyboards. I know I'm not the biggest. I mean, I barely even have 10,000 subscribers at this point. I know that my videos can be a little long and drawn out. Again, I am starting a Linux channel to get a little bit more, because a lot of folks have really asked me to explain to them Linux, because they're like, well, if you're as detailed with keyboards as you are with Linux, and I am working on my first video on that. I also am working on a couple of tier list videos, but I have to catch up with all of my reviews that I filmed that I have to film again because they were lost. Because sometimes I go through periods of just using the keyboards for like a week, and then I'll spend a week just filming, and then I'll spend another week editing and releasing videos. And I had, honestly, I think almost 3 weeks worth of video that I had filmed that, I mean, it was comprised over 30 keyboards that I lost footage on. But that's neither here nor there. I'm going to go ahead and leave you guys with the stock sound test of the Sikakeyb HM80. I can't recommend this. I would like to see them actually listen to what I have to say and perhaps make some changes. But I mean, software aside, with the port being like that, that's just an issue that you're going to have to go back to the drawing board. A new PCB is going to have to be made. A daughter board is going to have to be done. And what is the point of this switch? I mean, seriously, what is the point of the switch? And I mean, I know you guys are saving money because you're using a case that either you intend to be wireless, or this was a wireless case that you repurposed. Because, I mean, this case really seems awfully familiar to me. I just can't place it, but then again, I've reviewed hundreds of keyboards at this point. So if it's not going to be wireless, then they just basically reused a wireless case and put in a rubber dongle in there, which, I don't know. I mean, especially at the price, that just kind of, it seems cheap to me. And I don't know. Anyway, I do hope that you enjoyed my honest review of this keyboard. As always, if you have any questions, comments, anything you'd like for me to do if I do come back to this keyboard, because I don't know if it's really worth it. I don't know if it's worth my time, honestly. But As always, ask below. I do my best to respond to each and every comment. I want to wish everyone out there a wonderful rest of your day, and until the next transmission, keep calm and keyboard on.